So we'll get started. If anyone has any questions for Cody, raise your hand, please.
There we go. Good man.
What was your worst injury for wrestling?
I've been fairly lucky not to be like catastrophically injured. I did have, some of you might have seen it, I had a torn deltoid and a torn rhomboid. Kane went to give me a backdrop and I looked like a fish in the air because like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I barely like turned my neck and something good came out of that though. I didn't need surgery, but I got 3 weeks off and in the 10 years, it's the only time I ever took off. And I got, I believe, I should know this. I think I got engaged in those 3 weeks and I grew out the mustache in those 3 weeks, yeah, so.
A lot of good came out of that injury.
A lot of good came out of that, yeah.
Another pretty high-profile injury was the one with Rey Mysterio, the knee that led to the mask. Not a fan of that injury?
Well, people like, if you ask like Randy Orton, Undertaker, Big Show, everybody, Ray's knee brace is the most dangerous thing on the earth. It broke Taker's nose, or that tore up the cartilage at least, and he gets everybody with it. That's his like, I feel like that's his secret weapon. He's like this smaller guy, and he's kind of a higher voice, but if you mess with him, he's gonna bang you to death with that knee brace.
All right, next we have Mike over here with a question.
Hey Cody, I was just wondering how you enjoy working with What Culture? With who? What Culture?
Oh, with what culture?
Yes.
So much so that I'll be back. I'll be back actually. I don't think they've announced it, so I don't want to totally stooge it off, but I will. I think I'll be back at the end of the month. I'm not, I think they're announcing in the next few days, but I loved it. It was fun to wrestle Kurt Angle, to see his face when he saw the amount of business in the UK. I was just talking about it at a dinner with a lovely group of people. I was just telling them, business in the UK, it's like it's 1996. It's wrestling is the coolest thing on the planet. So it's cool just to like fly over and be part of it.
Next question.
All right, next we're with Chris. Hey, so I heard that you actually requested to work with Victor tonight. I was wondering like how you heard about him and how much you heard about, the maritime wrestling scene.
Oh, well, for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. What I do is I field test. Sounds ridiculous, but like somebody will say, hey, I talked to this promotion, and they told me about 2 or 3 guys. And I asked, I think it was specifically Christopher Daniels, and he was the one who, he said, that's the guy, 100%, you want to be part of that in the career path. He's taking in the direction, I didn't know it was going to line up in the fashion that it did, but makes it all the more special. Wrestling is one of those things that you can call it what you want, but there are moments that are very real in it, and for him tonight, I'm glad to be part of it. Yeah.
Just to go off that, does it up the pressure at all for Dick during his last match? You're his last match, and he is an icon in maritime wrestling. Does that up the pressure at all?
I have, pressure is kind of it's been part of my life. I don't hide particularly, so I'm the son of Dusty Rhodes, and that's an added amount of pressure to begin with. I publicly kind of embarrassed and quit WWE, so when you do that, you're putting more pressure. I told everybody, hey, here's why I left, here are my concerns, and here's what I'm going to be able to do. So if you go out and don't do that, you're kind of just a jackass. So I have a lot of pressure on me already, so.
Next question.
All right, we're over here with Roman.
I was just wondering if you can elaborate or you have a funny story about what really went down at WrestleMania.
Oh my gosh, how do you know about WrestleMania?
Who doesn't know about WrestleMania?
WrestleMania to Santino is one of the most fun moments ever. To me, it is one of the worst nights of my life. If you don't know what WrestleMania was, it was a bodybuilding contest that took place at the WrestleMania after party, and it was my fault because I told Santino he was fat, and I was mean to him on a tour bus, and he said, I'll be in better shape than you by WrestleMania, and it turned into, okay, we're going to do a bodybuilding contest at the after party. One of the moments that made me realize I kind of like stepped in it and I was way too over my head was I didn't think they were doing it anymore. I mean, obviously WrestleMania is a big enough event, but they didn't have any true entertainment for the after party. Kid Rock shows up to the after party and says, I'm gonna jam with the band. So he's actually up on stage getting ready, tuning up with this local band. They're gonna do some music. And I had thought everyone had forgotten about it. However, I did wear a Speedo under my suit in case, but I was fairly convinced everybody forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, I'm in the back of the room and I hear somebody going, Cody, and I'm like, oh no. And I'm walking through the crowd and there's Undertaker. And he was the host. And the next thing he says, all right, boys, get up on stage and disrobe. And just my dad is standing there. He's like, what is this? I'll say this. Santino was the good guy. I didn't realize that. When I saw the shirts they made for it, where I was Macho Man and Santino was Hogan, I should have figured it out, but I didn't. And they booed me off the stage, essentially. The highlight for me, though, is Linda McMahon. This is the last after party she ever went to. She's standing there, and she's not in on it, so she's not trying to really be mean to anybody. And I do my poses. There's this overwhelming boo. I was a bad guy. And she doesn't know what to do, so she's kind of like... And then she looks at me and just goes... And I was like, no, Linda, no, can't be. Santino was, I'll say this, he'll tell you he was in shape, he was as fat as he ever was, and he beat me hands down by applause. And the very last thing I remember is like haphazardly pulling my pants on behind the stage, and Vince is trying to sneak out of the party. And he just gave me a hug and said, I'm so proud of you. I was just mortified. I tore my hotel room up. I yelled at. I was mad that I lost a fictional bodybuilding contest. But you ask Santino if you ever get the chance, don't tell him I told you he was fat. Just tell him he was in great shape because he believes it.
Are the WrestleMania after parties as legendary every year as that year?
That is, I mean, honestly, I provided the entertainment that year. They have gone rapidly downhill ever since. There was talk of doing another WrestleMania with like Braun Strowman and somebody else, but it never came to fruition. So I think we had the best WrestleMania after party of all time. Yeah.
You can't top the original.
No, you really can't. And if we were going to do it, it should be me and Santino again. But I would lose. So yeah.
Next question.
All right, we're here with Jacob.
Okay, so we've all known you're like a really big wrestling guy, but what was it like to move over to something different, like the Arrow TV show, and play a villain on that?
I'm probably not the best actor. I learned that from my experience. However, I loved it was streamlined for me as a physical character. The episode's based around 2 big fight scenes with me and Steven and me and Rick Gonzalez, and so it was basically like a wrestling show, just more like 85 more cameras. I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of the end result. I heard that I might be coming back. I'll believe it when if it happens. But the fans liked it. The wrestling fans kind of traveled over, and that was super helpful. As just when Steven came to SummerSlam, the Arrow fans said, "Oh, wrestling, we'll check it out for him." It's been a really great relationship. That guy is a full-blown real life superhero. The amount of charity work he does that he doesn't tell you about is what lets me know, like, he's a good guy. It's one thing to promote your charities to the ends of the earth, look at all the good I'm doing. It's another to do goodwill when no one knows. And Steven is like that. I mean, he's the Stardust Arrow shirt, Stardust ML shirts, like the one you have on, was $300,000 for a hospice in Toronto. And then all of a sudden I get a plane ticket. He told me, you need to come to this and paint your face. Okay. Yeah, so no, I'm very proud of the episode of Arrow. Hopefully I'll come back and hopefully we'll finish what we started. I've yet to beat him at anything, so.
Did you watch Arrow before? Is that what the SummerSlam?
Oh yeah, I was a big fan. Miz got me into it, and full disclosure, Miz read for a role on Arrow and didn't get it. So when I got the part, he was super pissed. Like, just, well, you're friends with him. That's how it happened. You know, just like, and then like, he's the first person to call me, like, it was a good job. You did a good job. So yeah, no, I'm happy about it. I was a fan of the series. I followed all the way. I watched Legends. I watched Flash. I checked out Supergirl. So I like everything that Greg Berlanti does.
Next question.
Next, we're over here with Dylan.
Cody, my question is, what is your favorite wrestling match?
Hardest question of all time. It changes. I'm sure, as everyone here is wrestling fans, it's like one day it's your favorite, and then the next day, likely WrestleMania 12 with Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, because I never thought they were gonna, like, I just kept waiting for Shawn to win the dang title, and it didn't happen, and then 60 minutes goes by, and I'm this little kid watching, and he still doesn't win, and then like when Gorilla Monsoon walked out to extend the time, I almost fainted. Like, I remember my dad watching me, because he could understand my fascination with Shawn, but he knew he was my favorite, and that was my favorite at the time. Looking back, there's so many matches from the 1980s NWA period that instantly become my favorite, because the people are just raucous, like, they're insane, the fans' reaction to the silliest and most simple of stuff. But for me as a kid, Shawn and Bret.
Did you watch more WWF than WCW? Under the Table?
Yeah, I mean, he figured it out, and he used me, my dad used me as a really good barometer for when their product was slipping, because I liked everything. I loved WCW for being more gritty and being less Hollywood wrestling, and then I loved WWE because I've gone to Blockbuster Video and rented and watched SummerSlam 1992 maybe 50,000 times. So like, yeah, I was a fan of everything, but when I turned it on, I think he paid attention to see who I liked, because at the time he was still behind the scenes and still like, how do we, you know, but I loved everything. We started watching ECW together, and I remember his face was like, he didn't know what had happened to his business, and then like 2 hours into the pay-per-view, I could tell he was like, no, this is good. It's different, but this is good. He was really open-minded to all forms of wrestling.
Great, next question.
Next, we're over here with Greg. Have you had your Halifax Stone yet?
No! I was just asked about that. Yeah, that's the thing, huh? Yeah, apparently Del Rio had, well, yeah, I don't... It's the thing, huh? Well,
It's pretty popular.
I'll make it happen then. We gotta have the full Halifax experience, so yeah, no, for sure.
Right, we need some Donair and some Tim Hortons for Cody Rhodes and hopeful Canadian.
Tim Hortons really stands the stereotypical test. People think, oh, we go to Canada, we go to the Maritimes. When we would travel, people would be like, oh, I gotta get Tim Hortons. And then you think you'll get it, and it will just be average. It's not. Tim Hortons is really next level. You guys should be proud. Be proud? Yeah, for sure. It's next level.
It definitely deserves a round of applause. Round of applause for Tim Hortons. Next question.
All right, we're over here with
Matthew, had dinner with you. What was it like working with Damien Sandow, and what is your opinion on what his career afterwards was like? After he cashed in and it kind of went down.
Loaded question. So my favorite match I ever had at WWE was Money in the Bank in Philadelphia when I did not win. When Sandow won and the crowd had kind of, I went in as a villain and they accepted me at the end and like got behind me, and then all of a sudden Damien turned on me. I was so proud of that. I think a lot of times people blame WWE for how things went, but you can't blame just WWE. Like, the writers aren't at fault entirely. The boss isn't at fault entirely. It is also you who's in the ring. So I think Sandow could have been afforded a few more opportunities, perhaps. However, it's not entirely WWE's fault when we see some of our favorites kind of fall from grace. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes elements that you don't know about. I couldn't imagine, heavy as the head that wears the crown, I couldn't imagine being Vince or Hunter and having to make some decisions with the amount of great talent you have. I will say, I got to see Damien when I went and did my 4 shows with TNA, and he seems so much happier, so much more, at least trying to challenge himself. I know he's making the tough step into the acting realm, and I love Damien. When you have a tag team partner, by the end of it, you usually end up hating each other, but it's one of those that we didn't want to work together anymore, but we sure as heck, he's one of my favorite people. Saved my life, by the way. When I fell, I tried to get back in the ring and throw some kicks, because I figured my legs work, I can kick a little. And he looked at me and he did a cartwheel and just shook his head. And then he turned around and took a choke slam, and that was the end of the match. I was like, oh, whoops. Yeah, he saved my life though.
Next question.
Next, we're over here with Landon.
I'm just wondering what your experience was like at Smash Wrestling.
Smash. Unbelievable. I am so glad that they did the Legend of Zelda stuff, and I'm so glad that when I got there, they realized I'm an actual fan of the series, because otherwise they did the graphics, they did the 8x10s, they even played like the Zelda music to start the show. Had I just been lying about being a fan, it would have been a disaster for them. But I told them if I go back, they just have to theme it after Twilight Princess or Metal Gear Solid, and I was told adamantly that they would. So that's my relationship with Smash now. They don't even have to pay me. Just as long as they theme it after a video game, I'm all in. Great people, great talent. Tyson Dukes is exceptional. Enjoyed it.
Next question.
Don't tell them I said they don't have to pay me. My wife would kill me.
So if we change the name of the show right now to a Legend of Zelda, we can get a tax break.
Yeah, for sure. I'd just leave. I'd be so excited I'd forget to get paid. No. I love Zelda. It's like such a weird thing. I saw your shirt pop. Like as a kid, like I didn't read books. I just played that dang game over and over again. I feel like I learned a bunch of life lessons from that game. So yeah, I love it.
Before we go to the next question, this is a personal question of mine. There was an issue of WWE Magazine years ago that said that you played Link to the Past every year, once a year. Is that true or not?
Bold-faced lie.
Oh.
Only because I got too busy to play it. Gosh, I don't think I've played Link to the Past in 5-7 years maybe. But I do play Ocarina of Time every year. And that's just because I want to, not because it's an annual thing. You know, I got it on the 3DS or whatever. Anything I can do on a plane, I'm all in on.
So it might have been Ocarina of Time they meant. And it was
I'm always in on board. The people know in the acting realm, they're trying to get a live action Zelda series going, both film and Netflix. And my poor manager asked me about different roles each day, and I always remind them, well, make sure you send an email to those Zelda people, you know. I'm willing to do a lot of things, yeah, so, and I'm all about it.
Next question.
All right, we're over here with Scott.
My question is, would you ever return to WWE?
Maybe? Is that fair? Maybe? I think it's way easy to say like, oh, never, but Maybe. A lot would have to change. I had a lot of personal gripes. I made my case clear with why I left. So it's hypocritical for me to turn around unless some of that is fixed, and some of it's very fixable. No. I wouldn't count it out. It's not really on my barometer currently. With the couple acting gigs that got afforded to me, and the fact that I get to do this and bounce all around the world doing it, it's really the last thing on my mind. I have a lot of friends there that I miss. My friends didn't know what was about to happen. Just me and Brandy, and I miss them dearly, but maybe's the best, yeah.
At what point did you decide it was time to leave WWE? Was there one single point? Was it over a period of time and something just broke the camel's back, or was it a point in time?
No, I think about a year before I did it, and I just wanted to be sure. There are specific, like, symbolic moments where I thought, what am I doing? I'm playing less than I think I am. I'm playing less, and there was a bunch of moments like that, like in Greensboro. I'm talking to Ric Flair in the dressing room that he goes out in 1983 and wins the NWA title for the first time. Actually not the first time, but anyways, there were moments like that occurred. There was an incident with Charlotte brought her cousins or some family to a show in Charlotte. And she asked one of the young kids, she goes, hey, do you want to meet Cody Rhodes? And he said, who? And she goes, Stardust. And he goes, yeah. And I was just like, no, you don't want to. I was really like defeated, because Stardust was supposed to last 3 months, and then 2 years in, and still squeezing into that bodysuit. And I just couldn't take it anymore. It was time for us to part ways. I always, when I did Stardust, always loved it when I was out there. Had a blast, experience, very fun. However, mentally, like behind the scenes, I was not into it for really like the last year I was doing it. So life's too short, man. You got to do what makes you happy.
Was the plan a WrestleMania match between Stardust and Goldust?
No. And it's the number one question that I get asked is what happened to that WrestleMania match? Nothing. Because it was never going to happen. It was we had a kind of our career path. I think Dustin wanted to do it, but it just wasn't on the radar. It was never on paper. It was never going to happen. I don't see him and I ever wrestling each other ever again, but who knows? But no, the plan was always that Goldust or Stephen Amell or my wife or Apollo Crews or whoever it was at the time, or Cesaro, was going to bring the Cody out of Stardust, and then I was going to do both shows, as one as Stardust and one as Cody Rhodes, and I loved that plan. I was like, oh, that's great, because if you don't buy the one, I can do everything I can to get you to buy it. And then they just kept dragging their feet, and I was just tired. So I said, see you, bye. And then, now we're here, talking about what's the thing I need to eat? Don't air, yeah.
Before we get to the next question, I just want to ask, you said that you don't think you'll ever wrestle Dustin again. Are you happy with the Fastlane match or whatever match it was that was the last one?
Match is terrible. No, I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't ever happy with it. I didn't want my dad to be, at the time he wasn't feeling well. I didn't want him to have to come to TV, and he was pretty adamant that what he had done at Battleground was the last thing he ever wanted to do. So then to bring him back, and what we did he ended up liking, but no, I wasn't happy with it. I was really happy with the subsequent matches that followed, that were all live events. All live events, non-televised. We found like a nice rhythm, and I was really happy with those matches for sure, but not the pay-per-view one.
Next question.
All right, we're over here with Christine.
How is it to voice your own character in the Scooby-Doo movie?
Where is that question coming from? Oh, okay. It was really great. The woman who produced me produced Mark Hamill on all the Arkham series. And I was just like, I think she got annoyed with me the second day of doing lines, and I was like, yeah, so, well, what do you guys like, what does he talk about? Like, I was just so curious about Mark Hamill. There's actually another one, the Jetsons movie. Those movies take years to come out. That was the last thing my dad ever did for WWE. So the Scooby movie was great. The Jetsons movie comes out, who knows? But I'm a robot who works for a Big Show. And I was like, do you want me to do like the Stardust voice? And they were like, well, we do, but it doesn't fit. So can you just do a robot voice? So I ended up just doing a robot voice. And then I got out of the booth and I was like, why did you even pay me for that? Like, anybody could have been, yes, Big Show. Like, it was just me and Dolph as robots. But apparently we're like animated as Starbot, Zigglebot, or whatever. So, should be cool.
Did you take inspiration for Stardust from the Joker or any other? Obviously, I know there was some Mr. Sinister involved with the WrestleMania costume.
More Frank Gorshin Riddler. And then Frank the Riddler is Jim Carrey Riddler. Like, I used to watch that video of him like blowing up the Batcave. And I used to watch that all the time before I'd go out, because that's where I call this area from the pipe and drape there to the ring, I call it no man's land, because if you don't really have a character, it's the scariest thing ever. Because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what, you can slap people's hands, but when you're covered, when you're something, you can do anything. You can hiss at people like a cat, you can jump on a barricade, you can, do a ridiculous amount of pelvic thrust, whatever you want to do. So that was always one of the fun parts about kind of wearing a mask in terms of the industry, yeah.
Next question.
All right, we're back over here again with Landon.
I'm just wondering what you thought of working with Sami Callihan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sami Zayn. I was about to break all your hearts. I'm kidding. He's a nice guy. Sami Callihan is absurdly good. Absurdly good. And he's one of those, when we follow wrestling as fans and you wonder, how is this guy still around? Or why are we still talking about this guy 10 years later? The reason is certain things in wrestling just stick, and certain people stick to wrestling. Sami is one of those who will make his way through Lucha Underground. He'll probably definitely find his way back to WWE. He's an absurdly good talent. I think when people see Sami, they don't have a clue who he is. By the end of it, he's done something that has endeared you in some fashion. I'm a big fan of Sami Callihan.